Alright, Kiss Army. It's time to drop the needle, kiss my wax.
Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of Kiss My Wax. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason Herndon, and we've got Tom Shannon as always.
Hey.
And this week we're going to discuss the originals, which is an episode that everybody's been waiting for a long time. But we've been waiting to do it because we wanted to have Mr. John Humphrey of Seether back on because I believe this is one of your favorite releases, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to talk about everything originals. We'll include the originals too, and, you know, all the normal stuff we do. But to start off, let's do our normal thing. Anybody have stuff to open, whether they've gotten lately, and all that good stuff?
I got some stuff. Who else has got some stuff?
Yeah.
Go, Tom. I got a couple of things.
Well, why don't you open yours, John?
Well, actually, it's already opened. I didn't,
All right.
but these are just, sorry. Do you have stuff to actually open?
No, sir, I don't do that. I don't do that.
Sorry. I got a couple of promo copies, which I always like promo stuff, and I finally got a promo copy of Creatures of the Night there with the gold stamp. Also a copy of Hot in the Shade promo. The guy had both of them. Didn't even advertise them as promos. Just had them up as regular copies, and so that was kind of cool to get. So I got Creatures and then Hot in the Shade, which it has the hype sticker still attached there.
That's a tough one to get.
And a gold stamp.
Yeah.
As well. And it has a promo copy on the label of the album, whereas Creatures, obviously doesn't have a promo
right,
or any indicator. And then occasionally, good or bad, I do use Discogs from time to time. And I got a copy of Best of the Solos from Peru, which has got kind of a wild and different back for those who collect various copies of Best of the Solos. It still has the shrink on it, and I got a pretty good deal on it. Kind of took a chance on its condition, because you never know how it is. When they say VG plus, sometimes that's G minus to us. So it turned out pretty cool.
Did you get it from Peru, or did you get it from somebody here in the States?
I got it from South America.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's always nerve-wracking to me.
Oh, yeah. Never going to I've had things show up in just bubble wrap, not even in a box.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Well, as far as me, I don't think I got any vinyl. I mean, our whole first part of our episode was obliterated before Dynasty, so I did end up getting, Vegas on vinyl. I showed that last time, but anyway, I just got a couple things that I wanted to show. My good friend Alan, who helped with the Kiss Expo in Japan, got me one of these amazing books, the Expo books. They're hardcover, they're real thick. It's got tons of great photos in it, and he got me the 2016 reissue of Music Live. So
nice.
Appreciate Alan doing that for me.
They got pretty good articles in those?
Actually, I think I haven't even opened it yet, but I did hear that a couple of things were translated to.
They are, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right. Somebody said that nothing in the Expo book but Japanese, which makes sense, but maybe that's not true.
Right. Well, I do want to show a couple things that I got. We also missed the whole Jersey Expo that I went to about a month ago, and I'm not going to go through that whole spiel again. But I did get a copy of BK3 on vinyl that Bruce signed to Kiss My Wax. So
nice.
You can see that there. So I wanted to show that. All the other stuff doesn't matter, but I wanted to show that. I appreciated Bruce doing that. He was like, do you want me to sign it to Jason? I said, actually, I want you to put it to Jason and Kiss My Wax. So he did that for me. So, but that's about all. I haven't bought a whole lot lately, so that's about all I've got. So your turn, Tom.
All right, I got stuff here, man. I got stuff. All right, so this first one, John, I didn't even show you this. Look here.
Oh my God.
No, it's not what you think.
I mean, not one but two. I was about to have a heart attack.
That's Crystal Gale.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's both of them are Kansas. One is a double, the other is a single. Why? Where are the Kiss records? Damn it! I got these for $14 each. They litter eBay. So does Crystal Gale.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just thought I'd get a kick out of that. All right. So what else did I get? All right. So I finally got something I've been looking for a while. Let me see which one. Hang on. I lost my glasses again. Hang on.
Lost his glasses again.
Now for an interlude.
All right. So which one is it?
I've never seen these glasses. Where'd these?
I know, those are some new ones there.
Haven't seen those?
Oh,
You want the new look, man. New look. All right, so I finally got a promo copy of Double Platinum with the sticker on it on the back. Been looking for that for a while. And then it turns out that I've got another copy that, oh, this is also gold stamped. Man, that's so hard to see that.
tilt it a little bit. You can kind of see it. Tilt.
Yeah. Very difficult to see.
It's there.
But anyway, so I've had another copy for years that was just a cut corner. But interestingly enough, the labels are different too. This one, my old one, has got promotional listed up in the top right of the label.
Yep.
See that?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then this other one is over on the left-hand side.
Well, I'll be.
Yeah, so good to get that finally after a lot of time. Another variation on a promo. I've been waiting to get one of these forever, and man, I'll tell you what, I got a hell of a deal on this. So it got me a double platinum and a live 2 with the hype sticker on it.
Yeah.
And this one has got that kind of a different looking demonstration, not for sale.
My promo has that stamp.
Yeah. And there, you see that on a lot of stuff. Are you going to show us another record today that's got that stamp?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's interesting to me, because I'm a geek like this, is they have got the same labels on both of these. So, and I saw a member of the page today, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. He sent me photos today of an Alive 2 promo with the double notch on it. Okay. Which I hadn't seen that.
Yeah.
Got the exact same labels as these two that I've got here. So,
yeah.
That's kind of weird. I mean, especially when you think about the crazy number of label variations on this album, period.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord, I think US, there's like 10 different layouts of them.
Yeah.
But apparently it looks like all the promos have got the same layout. So there was that. Got me a really nice, got this at a record store in Columbus, Ohio, really nice RCA Alive 2.
Oh, cool.
Thought I was buying a duplicate and turned out I didn't have it. So that's
in good shape.
Nice. Y'all, it's in great
All
shape.
those are in great shape.
Yeah, it was in fantastic shape. Same store up in Columbus. I got a European second pressing of Monster that's sealed. And, of course, unfortunately, I'm going to have to open this up so I can take pictures of the label for the book.
Bum, bum, bum.
Got this one from Todd White the other day. Lick It Up promo
Nice.
single. And I got to be honest with you. I thought I was getting something a little bit different than what I actually did. Not on Todd's fault, my fault. For some reason, I was thinking this. I was remembering, that is super rare. No, it's XN Sexes.
That's the super rare one.
Yeah.
But I was really glad to get it. I'd hadn't had an opportunity to buy one.
Oh, John must have the X and Sex one.
Do you have that?
He's got his earphones out, so I can't.
Okay. All right.
That looks like it does. So
He does.
yeah.
I had to disappear for a second.
Yeah, I think we just figured out what you were getting.
Nice, man.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
good.
The urban mix.
That's right.
The excessive and urban mix.
Cool.
It's weird.
Finally got a white vinyl Alive 3 from Marnik, and I'm not going to try to butcher his last name, one of the members of the page. He gave this to Luther to carry on to the KISS cruise, and I carried my records on, and we swapped them that way. So this is the first time seeing it. Actually, I don't know if this might have been a good idea, may not have been. I don't know. Whoever originally had it, that's the sticker from the shrink. They've got it right on the jacket.
Oh, okay.
But you know, I mean, I got 3 more, so I don't care about that. I really just wanted the vinyl variation.
Yeah.
Okay, now the good stuff.
That wasn't the good stuff?
No, it
Oh,
wasn't.
no, yeah.
Hang on.
We're getting into
stuff.
cruise stuff now, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So my buddy Luther, we traded copies of Kiss in Vegas. So this is the European version. I haven't opened this yet, but the inside centerfold is different than the U.S. one.
Right.
It's got Gene's base on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So got that. And then we were talking about South American vinyl. And one of the members on our page, Gustavo, and I'm not going to, and again, I hope I didn't butcher his name like that. Really great guy. He lives in Chile. And so if somebody overseas wants to pry loose a good LP, I'm going to show you what you need to give me to do it, because he asked for some stuff and I gave it to him. All right, so the first one that let's start with the first one's Hotter Than Hell. All right, got a camel label.
Oh wow!
But camel label says 1977. These Chile LPs are pretty interesting because there's all kinds of, I don't want to say all kinds of variations, but initial oddities on the releases. So this is Chile vinyl, but it's in a Brazilian jacket. Okay.
Ah.
That's, I don't know how many variations of word, but that's what this is. Now we've got Destroyer, and that's printed on there. That's not a sticker. It's printed on there.
Wow. That's
okay. Cool. And again, we got let's see, it says 76. So we got a another camel label there. Love Gun. And both the Destroyer and the Love Gun were printed in Chile, and pressed there as well. Both pieces of it. This is a camel label again, which is nice to get on that, but it's got the date of 77 on it. All right, and then I don't know which of these to do first. So
these are the big ones.
Yeah, and I really, I think this one is the bigger one, but I was really shocked when he explained the next one to me. All right, so we got Kiss Alive 3, all right, which is Alive 2. Yeah. It's got a camel label on it. And, this is how rare this stuff is. I'm really happy to have this. Sure do wish whoever had it at first didn't get all happy with the color pencils.
I see.
It was, because what it was, the song titles and the publishing stuff was printed in yellow on this white background, and all the rest of that text was white. Okay. And so somebody decided they need to color that up. But that's, that's part of what you get. Other than that, the jacket's in really great shape. All right. And luckily, because we were able to meet on the cruise and carry this stuff on, it's always nerve-wracking trying to trade with somebody, especially the first time. Yeah. And they're in South America and we're in the U.S. and all that. I mean, that's not insignificant stuff that I sent, so right. Kind of feel these people out. I got to meet him in person. He's a great guy. I feel like we'll have a good trading relationship going forward. Now this is pretty interesting. This is on Alive 2. All right, not as rare as that Alive 3 or the Alive 4 that goes with it. But what's interesting about this, they're telling me this is a transitional copy because it's got the this jacket was also made in Chile. The discs in it, I don't know if you can make this out. Can you tell me what the title of that is?
Move it up a little bit.
Alive 4.
Alive 4, huh?
Yeah. So it's got an Alive 3 disc in it and an Alive 4 disc in it, even though it's Alive 2. So they still had vinyl left and put them into the Alive 2 jacket.
Gotcha. Got
who
ya.
knows if Casablanca made them do that or they just decided to do that. I think a lot of times in South America, like with the Alives from Argentina, where it was in two separate, and the Alive too, where they were in two separate volumes. I think they tried to keep the cost down, is why they did that. Figured people didn't want to pay the money for a double, but I'm not really sure what the story was on that. But I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And then the good one that I got on the cruise. So yeah, so we've got the this is one of the gifts that the passengers got.
That's
Last
cool.
year they got and I wasn't there. They got a signed one-sided rock and roll all night 12-inch vinyl.
Yeah.
I don't recall off the top of my head reading which pressing that was on that. I always just assumed it was that re-recording. But this is, of course, the theme of the tour of the cruise was Creatures of the Deep, and so the songs are Creatures of the Night and I Love It Loud, and they're both off Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
Kiss Rocks Vegas. So I'm sitting there going, now, well, where do I put this? Obviously, it's got to go in the Vegas slot now.
Yeah.
But last year's was signed, so what they did this year, there's a flat in there, an LP flat that the band members signed. So that's really cool, and it actually keeps getting cooler as you go through. I'll show you a little thing extra I got in, although I did get the story figured out on it. And then it got the disc inside. Yeah. And so it took me a little while to realize, although I was quicker than some people because it took them several hours. Red vinyl. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I think this was pressed in the Czech Republic. It says made in CZ. I think that's the abbreviation for Czech Republic.
I think it is.
Yeah. So real quick story on mine and my quest to get what I was supposed to get on this. Originally, I booked and paid for myself and my wife and my daughter to go on the cruise. And there's no refunds. Once you pay some money, there's no refunds.
Yeah.
And one of the things on there, and this is, I don't know, a couple things bugged me, but this was one thing that bugged me. So I pay X dollars for this, and then for each passenger, they wanted another almost $300. It's like $295. They said it was, I don't remember if it said it was tax, but there's also like something else that I'm going, oh, you just need some more money. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it was just taxes or whatever. And so, you don't get any of that back. Well, we realized about a month ago that my daughter was not going to end up going. And, but I'm sitting there, I'm not getting any money back. They break the cabin cost down equally among everybody, whether you got 2 passengers or 3 passengers or 4. So, no issue with that. But I paid that extra almost $300.
Yeah.
So we decided I'm not going to call and cancel her out. We're just going to do it when we get to the boat. And that's what I did, and so we go into the cabin, and the first day there's 3, I don't know if you can see it back there behind me. That's a cruise backpack.
Oh, wow.
It's sitting there. There were 3 of those there, that's great. Come back in the next day, and there's 3 of whatever it was, and then we run into our room porter, and he says, "Now, are there only 2 y'all in there?" And I said, "Yeah, there is, but let me explain something to you. I paid for 3." I said, "So you be sure that you put 3 of everything." I'm being as friendly as I can on this, okay?
Yeah.
Be sure you put 3 of everything into the room, okay? Because I paid for that. Oh, okay. So I come into the room the night when we get the LPs, and there's 2 sitting there. And I'm like, man, what's going on with this? So I go down to check to find out, and, they tell me they got to wait for the list to come back. They're like, they don't believe me. And I'm, okay, I guess you get that on there. I don't know. But, I'm not going to lie about it. So anyway, I go back to the room, and there's the housekeeper, and I said, "Where was my other record?" "Well, there's only 2 of you in the room." I said, "Yeah, dude, but I told you I paid for 3.
Yeah.
I said, I want my record. And I said, all I'm telling you is you just be sure to tell them that, that you only put 2 in there. bottom line is they took care of it. The next day there was one in there, and I got to looking through them, and I had this in the third one that I picked up, and it says, and it really threw me, although I did end up finding what this was for. Now I don't know why I got it. It says, "Hi, Cruiser. We hope that you enjoyed your trip on the Kiss Cruise 6. We are very sorry, but unfortunately your item was unable to receive an autograph on board this year. Live loud, your 6-man team." And I'm going, well, I don't get this, because it was all signed. Although I did notice that the signatures weren't in the same places as the other two were, like Gene and Paul were flipped. And I'm like, well, I don't know what this is. I ended up hearing from 6-Man. I thought, well, maybe they were going to give me an album that didn't have a signed flat, and they ran it by. Somebody said, no, you can't do that, and ran it by and got them to sign it real fast.
Yeah.
But they said apparently this is a letter that you get if you take stuff on board and you think you're going to get it autographed, which they tell you you're not going to.
Yeah.
And if people leave it with them, which can you imagine anything you'd want to leave with them? Over the course of 5 days to get signed.
No.
And apparently that's the letter you get back. So I don't know. I don't know what that was about. Thought I had me a nice little addition to it, and I'm going to leave it in there with it. But anyway, got my 3 records. So that's all that mattered. They're both gone. Traded one to one guy, and actually got another guy traded one to, John.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got people looking for you, Jason. I got people looking for you, man. I've got people looking for you. Trust me, there's people that got more than one. But anyway, so that's everything that I got vinyl wise in the last couple of weeks.
That's a good batch.
Yeah.
It's a good batch. Yeah.
And the cruise to boot.
I suck.
I don't like you anymore. All right.
You just like throwing it in our faces, Tom.
That's what he does, man. Yeah,
that's what he does.
He uses the
throws
platform.
It in your face.
Look what I got.
Oh, yeah. That's what I do.
I'm just playing. So.
All right, we got a record to talk about?
Nope.
Records.
Yeah. So are we going to talk about the originals?
Let's talk about the originals.
Talk about the originals, John. What do you know about the originals?
Well, my little story is, oddly enough, in the 80s, now, kiddos, before we had internet, before we had, social media, and you could get online and just instantly look up a video from 30 years ago, you couldn't actually access all this music, and you had to go to record stores and buy it and save your money and beg your parents and all this. You just didn't download it or belong to Spotify and pay a nickel. I hadn't heard Hotter Than Hell. I mean, I'd been a fan starting in the late 70s. This would be like 84 at this point. I hadn't even heard Hotter Than Hell. I had a neighbor kid who had the originals, and he loaned it to me. And it was his older brothers. And I know a lot of us had these kind of stories, but these kind of stick with you all through your life.
Sure.
He had it in his attic. The thing was warped and all jacked up. I didn't care. I took it home to borrow it. It was the first time I'd even seen the artwork, well, at least on the back anyway, and listened to Hotter Than Hell, which was kind of all new and amazing to me. And then the booklet, with these photos of the band, the early years, the Paul and the, all white and just the single star. And it gets you thinking like, thinking about the backstory of this band, like, wow, where did they come from? And, it kind of gets your mind going. So just looking through that booklet, listening to Hotter Than Hell for the first time, Going Blind, Mainline, these sort of different songs, it was just like a sensory overload for me. So the originals altogether has a very special place, in my, Kiss fandom, so to speak, vinyl fandom.
That's cool. Cool story. To step back a little bit on the originals, I know that probably 99.9% of the people that watch this are Kiss collectors, Kiss vinyl collectors, but I have received messages through our email, our Kiss My Wax email, and just, on the pages and stuff with a few people that have said, you know what, I don't know anything about Kiss. I don't know any, I've never collected Kiss vinyl, but you know what? This is a pretty interesting podcast, and I may pick up a couple of pieces about it. So,
that's cool.
Just simple stuff about the originals. The originals is a repackage of the first 3 albums that the band released. And assuming that they repackaged these after Alive, it just, those records were blowing up and Destroyer was blowing, or whatever was blowing up. Come out between Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over, right? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
after they were really blowing up, they were, we needed to move some of this other product from these first 3 albums. So they stuck them in a little quote unquote box set, where you get the sleeves. We'll show all of that stuff, but for people who may not know what the Originals is, that's what the Originals is. It's it's a repackage of the first 3 albums that the band released, come out in '76, right? So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. July '76, and
July
that's
76.
that's actually the first way that I had the first 3 LPs.
Interesting.
Still remember going and buying it. I had obviously heard Alive and Destroyer at that point, and really wasn't too tore up about getting the actual studio albums, because figured everything was on the Alive ones anyway. But still remember walking into the record store in the middle of the mall. It was and buying it. It was pretty cool to open up, like John said, with the book. What hit me with that book, and again, it's this age thing. I was 16 years old. Maybe I was 17 by that point. Maybe it'd been out. Maybe I'd been out for a while. But well, the thing I'm getting at is, there's pictures in there. That picture of Paul with the star on his face and no white makeup. That was only 3 years before then.
I know.
That's when it hit me. Hey man, how did they go from that to this? That is like a stratospheric jump.
Yeah.
It really, until I opened that book up and saw that picture, it was always like, oh, well, they came out of the box like that. No,
Right.
man, there was some big incremental jumps. That's when you learn about a coin and all that. That really, I think when I saw that booklet is when I started becoming so interested in the backstory on the band, kind of like what you're saying, but from the aspect of how the hell did they do this?
Yeah.
That's when I started really paying attention to Bill of Coin and the stuff that they were doing with them. So that was my experience, buying the thing.
Yeah.
It fell to shit real quick, after I bought it. That thing, I'm sure I have no elements left of the first one that I have,
Right,
or that I
right.
had, because it just didn't hold up, physically didn't hold up. And I'm sure I wore the records out.
I'm
Yeah.
going to step away for 1 second because there's a very important record that I own that's in my box set, that in my Wisteria, that I forgot to get out ahead of time. So go ahead and talk. I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah. So we're going to talk about Jason now, since he's not there.
Right. Like we talked about you when you went to get your glasses. This is the interlude part.
Yeah. I don't know. I can tell you, I never did see the originals. I never did see the 8-track anywhere when I was of that age.
Right.
Yeah. And I guess that kind of makes sense. It's so tough to find now. I don't think it's just wasn't ever that common.
And I have another connection, Life 2, the evolution of Kiss on the back, I think is where they kind of first make a mention of it being in their discography. And I that was even before I was aware of the originals. I even then was trying to figure out, because I had Alive and Alive 2, like I said, before I even heard the first 3 albums. So I remember the originals being mentioned on the back of that booklet. I'm like going, what's the originals? What is that?
Yeah. What'd you have to grab? It was so special.
Well, we're not getting into that now, are we?
Well, I don't know.
Well, I have my white label promo copy in Wisteria, and I forgot that I had it in there, so it's like I got to get that out. So.
Well, when did you buy your first originals? 1995, right?
It was. I don't remember. I have a specific memory of buying the originals too, but I don't know if I have it was in the early 90s.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't remember specifically when, but it would have definitely been in the early 90s. Yeah. For sure. I had the first 3 albums in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And probably didn't know what the originals even was up until maybe the later 80s. but I honestly don't have any real recollection of it. I don't have a good story like you guys have of when I was like, whoa, the originals, what is that? But it had to have been the early 90s when I got my first copy.
Well, here's an interesting thing. I'm not sure a lot of people realize this, but of course, the first 3 albums never went platinum.
Right.
They went gold. They didn't go gold till this LP came out.
Right.
That was what pushed them up over the top with it. And there's no doubt that was. I mean, you hear numbers like they sold 250,000 copies of the originals, and that's probably about right. That's probably about right. And it's an interesting LP too, from the standpoint that before the internet, just a regular copy of it, I mean, that was like gold.
Yeah.
Because how you ever going to find one? You just couldn't.
Right.
Now I got like 5 or 6 beat up copies sitting back here. I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, I distinctly remember going, when I started going to records, because I live about an hour and a half outside of Nashville, and really, there's a little town about 45 minutes from me that had one record store. It had a sound shop at one time, and it had a place called Xanadu at one time as well. And I can remember buying Hot in the Shade there. But once I got to a little bit older in my teenage years, 15 years old, something like that, and I had a couple of buddies that were a little older, my buddy Danny, I'd go to record stores with him in Nashville, and I would always see that, this would have probably been in the late 80s, so I guess I was probably aware of it in the late 80s. I would see it up at the Great Escape in Nashville. Some of our Nashville people will know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
And they would be, they'd have them up behind the counter, and it would be like, $150 or something like that.
Right.
And I was like, I'm 15. I can't afford $150. What's that? I do remember that, but it just was unattainable for me at that point in time. I was saving my lunch money to buy Kiss records. So
Right.
You're right.
So anyway.
Well, and that was it for me. I mean, like after I had my friend's copy that was, like I said, warped, and I just wore out even more. It was, I think, 88 when I was able to officially, with my own money, buy my first copy. It was at a secondhand store, but if you can tell how much I paid for it. Can you see?
$12.99.
$12.99.
Nice.
Look at that. And I still have it. No ring wear.
It looks
which is like impossible to find. But yeah, $12.99.
Look at you. That's a heck of a story, man. I wish I had a good story of how I got my first copy of originals, but I just don't remember, man. That bums me out.
You got a good story on how you got your promo, right?
I do.
I got a good story on how I got my promo.
You want me to tell
John,
mine first?
do you have a good story on how you got your promo?
I don't think it'll be as exciting as your guys's.
Well, I don't know if mine's exciting. Tom's is pretty exciting.
Yeah, so mine's pretty well.
So I'll tell mine first,
yeah.
Because his is a lot more exciting than mine. So there was a gentleman that was, I guess, a co-owner of the last company that I used to work for. And they were a distributor and owned some record stores out of Nashville. And he was a record collector, and this company had been in business doing distribution since, definitely the 50s, of maybe even the late 40s. But they were instrumental. They were the first company that out of Nashville when Atlantic was an indie, and they were the first company to distribute Atlantic. And but anyway, so this was one of the brothers, and he collected everything. So, he had hundreds of thousands of albums by the time the company shut down in 2009 or something like that, and CDs and everything as well too. But basically, every label rep came in there, brought promos, and he would just take them and file them away. And he had this whole huge house of just racks, just like yours, John, just full of records. Yeah. And he never got rid of anything. Well, he wasn't a Kiss fan. And he just, he filed these records in, and he didn't end up with all the Kiss records. I don't know how, and he wasn't sure how, but when the company was starting to go under, he was like, look, I've got these Kiss records if you're interested in buying them. And I said, well, bring them in. I'd love to see them. I knew they were promos, but I didn't know what they were. Thought it might be an asylum or something like that. And
Right.
He brings them in, and it's like Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, Dress to Kill, Alive, the originals,
All of them.
almost all of them. There wasn't a double platinum, and there wasn't a set of solos, but there were almost everything up through Dynasty, I believe, and they were dead mint. He had never put a needle on them. He literally got them from the label rep as they brought them in, because they bring in stacks of promos and hand them out to whoever they wanted them, and he literally took them home and stuck them on a shelf and never touched them again. So that's how I end up with a dead mint.
Wow.
Original.
That's beautiful.
White label.
It is.
Promo. I mean, it's dead.
It is.
Dead mint.
That's beautiful.
It's one of my prized possessions, and that's how. And he had most of the promo EPs as well. He got the promo, the Rock and Roll Over, and the Destroyer promo EPs. And,
wow.
The best of the solo albums, and the only thing he didn't have was the Taste of Platinum. For some reason, he had no double platinum promos of any kind. So I don't know. And that's how, when people say, well, this particular promo EP came sealed, this had shrink wrap on it, I can definitively, personally say, no, there's no way, because this is how it was handed from the label rep to this guy and straight to the shelf. He didn't unwrap anything. So none of those promos were sealed. And but anyway, I have an amazing promo collection because of.
That's all. I mean, that's a collector's dream, right there.
It really was. It really
that
was.
story right there.
I'm sure you compensated him well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Nah, come on now. You got a deal. You did.
I think I made a mistake. I'm not going to talk about actual money, but
Right.
I didn't. He was asking me if I was interested, if I knew what they were worth.
Yeah.
And I was a moron, and he brought them in, and I was being a nice guy, and I was like, well, I think this one's worth this, and this one's worth this, and this one's worth this. And he was like, well, okay, if you want to give me that for it, that's what I'll charge you. And I was like, great. So, I really kicked myself. So I paid for them. I didn't get them at dirt. No, I paid for them. So anyway, that's that story. I've told it kind of a few times in the past, but this is the most important one because, this originals is, Tom's got one that's probably right there.
It's not as nice as yours, and I don't know if I told you this or not. Once I started taking photos of these things and looking at them under the light and stuff, I was just like, are you kidding me? I thought this thing was mint, and it's not. But I've got a really nice one.
That's a nice one.
And the story on this, John, is so this was like 19. Of course, got all the stuff inside. This is like 1990, I want to say, and I had gone. I live in Central Kentucky, and I had gone to Cincinnati and it was the craziest thing. They actually had 2 record shows going the same day. Just a fluke because they were both on different rotating schedules in all these towns, and they were both there. So I had gone to the one, and I'm shopping around, I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, you got any Kiss stuff? And the guy goes, well, there's a guy at the other show that's got some Kiss stuff, got some promo stuff. So really, okay. So I drive over there, and I walk into that room, and this guy's got several tables set up, and there are 18 of these sticking up out of his boxes. 18 of them.
Wow.
And they all look like this.
Wow.
And I'm like, what in the world? And I asked him, I said, where the hell did these come from? I mean, at this point, 1990, I had just recently even known that there was a promo of this, because to me, why does this even exist?
Yeah.
I don't have a clue as to why there's a promo. It's not like they were sending them to radio stations to play. They're not going to suddenly start playing that just because they got it. I had the chance to ask Bill Coyne about that one time, and he said, well, just what they did. They just made, made a certain number of promos just by the contract, and so there they are. And I guess they probably sent them to music magazines and stuff like that, trying to churn some sales for it. But it was going to get no radio play.
Right.
But I asked the guy, I said, "Where'd you get all these?" And he said that a friend of his had found them. I'm gonna say stole them from a Warner Brothers warehouse the week before. So these things had set for, what was that, 14 years, something like that.
Yeah.
In a warehouse,
Wow.
no shrink on them. None of them had shrink on them, just
Yeah.
like they shouldn't have. And so, yeah, man, $80. And I'm like, wow. And I sat there, and it took me a half an hour to pick out the copy I wanted, because I'm going, well, which one's better?
Yeah.
God,
18.
and if it was today, I had no money, man. I mean, I did have the $80 to spend on it, and I gave it to my wife to give it to me for Christmas, And
I've done that a couple of times.
I do that crap all the time.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was like I felt kind of bad, I mean, well, we'll see. We had my kids, so it must have been about 94, maybe. But anyway, so that's where my copy came from. And of course, once eBay hits, these things, they're not that rare. I mean, they are, but they aren't. It's one of those things that people will sell every now and then. You see one, and I'm going, I know that came out of that same stash because it looks too perfect.
Right. Right.
I mean, because it's like all the rest of them. It's so rare that you're just not gonna find it in good shape very often. While we're talking about it, I guess we should discuss it.
I guess
so. Yeah, we really probably should. So there's the promo marking of it. It's a cut corner. Other than that, it's the same jacket.
Right.
Your other one is the second pressing, right, John?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want to jump ahead. But,
don't jump ahead.
Because I do want to talk about that one.
When you talk about
actually,
John's...
but his second pressing for sure. But we'll talk about other stuff too. But John and I actually met. When we met, he asked me about this second pressing he's got.
Right.
But anyway, the promos have got white labels on them, so that's pretty much the get go on those. They come with all the inserts.
Let John tell his story about how he got his.
Yeah.
Mine, like I said, isn't all that exciting. Actually, there was a secondhand record store. The guy would occasionally get Kiss stuff in, called me. This was actually in Dallas, Texas, when I lived there for a little bit, and just said, he knew I was a Kiss collector, and said that he had gotten the originals in a really nice white label copy. And I have a feeling somebody the cover's really nice. The vinyl is mint, or certainly near mint, and has all the inserts and everything, but it doesn't have a cut corner and no marking on this first one. So I have a feeling maybe he upgraded the cover or something, before I got it or whatever.
Possibly.
That could be.
I have an interesting stock copy that, I guess from the first pressing that I would like to talk about a little bit and get your guys' opinion on.
Yeah.
So if we can. So this is my stock copy of the originals, which I've had signed by Paul and Gene at the conventions. And it's in pretty decent shape. And this would be the first copy I ever owned. I do not recall where I got it. It was probably from The Great Escape or Phonolux or somewhere in Nashville. But what's interesting about it is it's got this sticker on the back of it. You see that?
I can't make it out though. August 28th, 76. Okay.
And what also came with it was what looks like this radio sheet of the story of the band.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So
that's cool.
What I think this ended up at a radio station somewhere.
I think
wasn't
it
an
did
actual white label promo.
Yeah.
Maybe just something that the labels sent out to the station or something like that.
Yeah.
But it basically, put Gene Simmons in the crowd of ordinary mortals, and you'd have little difficulty picking him out as a rock and roller. It just goes on about the band and all of that stuff, and it looks like script that they would have read online. But so this is the first
That's
copy.
cool. I've never seen that.
Yeah, no, it is.
So, but it's just regular old, camel labels. So
Right.
so not white label promos or anything like that. But anyway, that's my stock copy. But also,
Well, that's pretty cool.
let's digress. Here's my Kistery letter that I got when I ordered Kistery back then. I don't know why I have it stuck in the originals, but I have it stuck in the originals.
I do not know. I do not know. All
So
right.
anyway,
Must have been about the same time, I guess,
yeah,
huh?
it might have, no, I don't know. It might have been. So
Who knows? Well, you know,
you said you had that Gene and Paul signed him at the convention.
yeah, I think I probably had all of that stuff together. I got the Kistery about the same time, and I probably had this with me or something. And I probably just stuck it in there so I wouldn't lose it or something. So
hopefully you didn't drag that Kistery in to get it signed by him.
no, it was signed by him. So
Oh, it was.
so
All right. So the first pressings, they come with this hype sticker.
Yeah.
Hate to break this to everybody, but there's some ass out there counterfeiting these.
yeah,
We've already seen them. So you know, unfortunately, this is not a counterfeit. Had a guy at a record store in Connecticut give me this because I was helping him out on some stuff. Yeah, and I don't have a cool story like you do, Jason. But you know, obviously, you're going to put the you know the inserts and stuff up on the screen. So not really a point in pulling these out. For those that don't know, the first pressings, the inner sleeves are flat, and the second pressings are glossy.
Yeah.
So you know that's always a quick way to tell.
glossy, thicker,
Yeah.
thicker, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for the second pressings, and so now we need to start blowing people's minds about label variations. Okay, as far as I know, the first pressing, there were only two label variations of it: the white label, and then a camel label. And then you know, obviously, Jason's going to throw up this camel image. And then, all right. So now let's talk about the second pressing. So, John, you want to talk about anything there?
Okay, so a couple of little honorable mentions. I've got second pressing here, still sealed. I had Gene and Paul sign. Can you see?
Yeah, I
absolutely.
sure wish I would have had a silver paint pen at the time.
And actually, Paul was like, "You want me to sign the plastic, the shrink?" You know, and I went, "Yeah, I do. I don't want to open it." You know, so he did. and Gene was, you know, I wonder. This must be about 25 years old. You know, he was pretty intrigued with it still being sealed. And then I have, like Tom mentioned, if I can find it now.
Too many records.
Too many records. Okay, so another second printing, and like Tom mentioned, this is the first time I kind of contacted Tom. It has the gold promo stamp on it.
How about that?
It's the only time I've ever seen it.
I've actually seen another. John.
Have you?
Yeah.
And it's a standard copy. I mean, it's not a white label. There's not a white label second label variation that I'm aware of.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, two things on that. Number one, that gold stamp matches this one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. You know, I mean, I do find records that are you know, that are stamped with that stamp, and I'm not sure where they come from. I don't know if a distributor did that. Who knows? But I did see. What? Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, you know, a lot of times, like with the company that I used to work for, which was a one-stop distributor, which is kind of what I work for now, a one-stop distributor, middleman. We would also send out promos. So we would get a bunch of free goods from the label, and then we would stick our company's promo sticker on it. So you'll see a lot of MCRD, promotional use only stickers, especially in the Nashville area.
Yeah.
So that could have been a one-stop that did that and sent them out to their stores that they were supplying. Who knows where that came from?
Yeah.
So.
The other copy that I saw like that, John, and I was watching it, and it was one of these deals where I was going to bid on it, and I forgot about it, and I could have got it cheap. Could have got it for $50. It was a seller out of Greece that had it, and it just, I'm like, you know, I'm gonna have to grab that just because I think it's a legit stamp. You'll hear some people say, you know, and I guess it's possible somebody could make them a gold hot stamp, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I just see too many of them with that same stamp to think that somebody made it, you know.
Yeah, and I've seen them
so
with
I
other
think it's
artists. I've
legit.
seen them on Aerosmith promos. I've seen that gold stamp.
I've got them on the Babies, Aerosmith, several other bands.
Yeah.
See, and it's not. It doesn't seem to be to one label. That would lead me more to believe that a one stop of some kind was doing multiple labels.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Distribute all the labels. So you know, it's,
could have been. Could have been.
So.
Could have been.
Whereas Tom, you're alive too, though. Your labels indicate promo on them, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the originals, mine, they're just a stock labels.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know if it makes any difference because who knows where it started life, but that Alive 2 came from a seller in England.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to totally mention that. I got that thing for $32.
Wow.
Got it for $32, man. Counting the shipping.
Oh, wow.
They had it on set sale on eBay, and it was there for about 10 seconds when I grabbed it. So, anyway.
Wow. That's awesome.
All right, great. I'm going to go on a coffin jag here. All right, so we always used to think, all right, so you either got a promo copy or you've got a first pressing because it's going to have the flat inners, and it's going to have camel labels on it.
Yeah.
And all the inserts. Or you're going to have the second printing that says second printing right on it.
Right.
Which has got the glossy sleeves and a Filmworks label. And that's it. And that is not so.
Or so we thought.
So we thought. I wish I could remember who it was that posted up a picture. Okay, so Jason just showed his Filmworks one. Somebody about 2 years ago posted their second pressing, and it had a camel label on it.
Yeah.
And we were all going, oh, dude, somebody Frankenstein that. But it's not. Because, and again, put these up side by side, Jason, the camel labels. This second printing, yes, John's got one as well.
I do not.
That text, that typeface exactly matches the Filmworks typeface on that second printing.
Right.
So it is just the wrong labels. And what I would find interesting, like, so somebody had one that had like 2 Filmworks and a camel or something like that.
Yeah.
You can Frankenstein that. So I'm not overly impressed with that. All right.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure they didn't. When first person shows me a copy, it's got a Filmworks on one side and a camel on the other, I want to buy that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now we're still not right. There's still another one. All right. And so I was trying to upgrade. Now, see, there's certain Frankensteining that I think is okay. All right. I'm just saying Tom thinks it's okay. All right. My second pressing, second printing with the camel label, the jacket was crap. And so I'm looking for a year to find me a really nice second printing to upgrade that baby. And I finally find one, and I buy it, and I get it to the house. And, of course, then I'm going to take the discs, the Filmworks labeled discs in this copy, and compare them to my other one to get the nicest ones, because I want the nicest copy I can have. Again, that's okay Frankenstein to me. And I start looking at them, and I'll be damned, the labels don't match. There's two different Filmworks labels on the second pressings. And so, let's see. Well, obviously, Jason will put this image up, but I'll try to do it here. The easy way to tell on these is under the MBLP 7032. One will say, I'm going off side one. It'll say MBLP 7032-3AS, and the other one says MBLP 7001-AS.
Right.
All right. So there's 2 different Filmworks label variations for this thing. And they've all got what look to be identical inserts as far as I can tell. And that becomes important for the next one we're going to talk about, or another one we will talk about. I don't have any Japanese. You guys got Japanese?
I do.
I do too.
I have. Yeah.
Show it, John.
Mine's a promo copy.
You lucky
Perfect.
butt. Is that
So
the only one
mine-
you have?
Mine. I have a standard copy as well.
Okay, that's
I just have the promo copy that I've to show here. Mine came with that sticker.
lovely.
Some people may
Very
have.
cool.
But yeah, the cool part of this is the white label Japanese, and I love the Japanese stuff.
Yeah.
I really do. And
I tried so hard not to have to buy all those. You know.
You really
But I-
want to.
I know I'm gonna end up.
Oh, it's
Very
beautiful.
cool.
and that's a tough one to find.
It's an expensive one to find.
I would say, yeah, I would
Yeah.
say.
No, there's mine. Just old camel label.
All right, so the Obi though, it actually goes all the way over the top, right?
Right.
That's where I have
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah. Apparently those are prone to ripping for some reason. I'm not sure why.
No. Let's see if mine has any rips. It's got a little small tear right there in the center.
I don't have any images of those yet through this, Jason. So if you guys want to show anything out of it, you probably ought to show it.
Oh, do we want to show?
Go ahead, Chase.
No, you got it, man. Go ahead.
I think you're probably in there quicker than I will be.
I got it. Here we go.
Now that sticker that you showed, John, that was that wasn't just available for the original.
No,
right?
no. It's just kind of that era.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is appropriate for it, but could have been found with other stuff.
Yeah. It's not a.
So in Japan, you have the non-perforated cards. You could It's got the cut lines on the back, and my sticker is starting to get a little delicate, but it's that.
I mean, put some spray
Those dry
adhesive
out for
on
some
that.
reason.
Is that what I should do?
Yeah, that's
adhesive?
that's what Tom Manning
Is that
said.
what he did? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not spraying
says it
anything.
works.
In the booklet, it's it's got the VIP number in the corner there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Same stuff, and then you've got the lyric sheet that came with it. Cool stuff. It's got some, I don't know, it's got some spotting in it. I don't know what it's from, but I don't know if you can see it. It's got some brown spots in there. I don't know what that's from.
Oh, we've.
Yep, bow weevils. And then the sleeves are matte, like the first pressing. So, but that's pretty much the whole thing.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
It is very cool. It's it's definitely one you want to collect if you're gonna get any Japanese stuff. It's pretty nice.
So you're saying I'm not a true collector?
You are
That's
not
what
a
you're
true
saying.
collector. Yeah.
All right. I'll try not to get offended like some people do. Now, I think most people understand that's a joke.
I hope so.
All right. All right. So, originals released in the United States, Japan, and
Canada.
all right. How many Canadians you got there, John?
I have 2 copies, and
Alright.
again, learning from this show, I acquired a turquoise one. I have
Cool.
one that's just the first album is the gold label or tan, and this one
Right.
is the turquoise one.
Right. Or light
And,
blue.
Yeah, or light blue.
Yeah. And I will say this: these things are very difficult. I think people think there are more variations than there are of this Canadian one because they are extremely hard to take scans of.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with that, or take photographs even. Very difficult to get them of the labels.
And they're they're the gatefold for them.
Yep.
Kind of unique to Canada.
Yep. Let's see.
Good
All right,
Lord,
so
it's hard to get back together.
So generally, what you're going to find on the Canadian ones, we're pretty sure there's 3 variations, and not more than that. There's like John said, the turquoise or light blue. All right. There's the dark blue, and then there's this gold or tan or however you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right? And when we talk about that, that's just for disc 1. Okay,
Right.
of each of those. The remaining discs throughout the other copies are all the same. They'll be Let's see if I can get these out without ripping everything up.
What's the rare disc one?
Well, let me finish this
All right,
first.
finish. Yeah, sorry.
All right, so they've all got the record 2 is yellow, and record 3 is red. Okay, so throughout all 3 of those variations, what I think we're getting ready to talk about, the rare one, I'm starting to think it doesn't exist. I think it was a photography issue.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure it wasn't an on-purpose photography issue.
Of course. But gold is common, right?
Gold is very common.
Okay. All right.
Those 3, I couldn't tell you which is the most uncommon, but gold's fairly common. We thought for a while, and I'm willing for somebody to prove to me that it in fact exists, we thought that there was a green label one. Okay? Unfortunately, the person that first showed that to everybody is a known counterfeiter.
So who I think it is?
And a known photography manipulator, all right, image manipulator.
Is it who I think it is?
And so, I'm not going to say. And so, anyway, as we're all chasing down this white elephant, or white buffalo, however you want to look at it.
Unicorn.
Unicorn. I decided one day to take, because I was having an extremely difficult time capturing the true colors on these labels for my book.
Yeah.
Okay. I scanned everything, and they weren't looking right. And so I finally got great pictures taken of them, and I started thinking, I wonder how difficult it would be for me to make one of these green. And it took about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Because all I had to do was adjust the hue and some of that stuff, and it literally took 3 seconds. Now,
right.
It's possible there could have been a printing error that did the same thing, but I'm telling you, I nailed it green. And so I don't think it exists. I don't think it exists. Somebody's got. I won't trust the photo of it. I won't trust the photo. I would have to see it in person or see it in some way other than coming across my computer screen. Like somebody take a photograph of it with their hand in the picture with their cell phone, so that I know they're not able. Because if you manipulate up the label, you manipulate your hand too. Yeah. Now, what's interesting on these, and I'm not going to give you all these, Jason, as far as pictures to put up, because it just gets weird. I've got three different stickers, different sticker backs in these. Okay, so they're not all the same. I've got 2 different booklets in here.
Really?
Right, the U.S. booklet says printed in USA.
Yeah.
And I've got one booklet in here that says printed in Canada, and the other 2 don't say printed anywhere. Let's see.
Would that be on the back of the booklet?
Yeah, it's on the back of the booklet.
This one I have out has no mention of being printed anywhere.
Okay, so here's printed in Canada.
Oh, wow.
Let me see mine. Mine's... Huh. Yeah. Well, hogwash.
Hogwash. What?
Yeah, mine
Golly
doesn't.
gee.
No, mine doesn't say anything about being printed anywhere.
All right, so maybe it's the printed in Canada. That's cool. Yeah, so here's one that doesn't mention.
Yeah, that's what mine looks like.
Yeah.
Which one is yours? This is the dark blue label on mine. And that's the thing of it. It doesn't mean that mine haven't been Frankensteined at some point.
So you're talking about the label of the first one? Mine's gold.
Is
that what you were talking about?
No, actually. Well, that's fine. That's fine, because my gold one also doesn't say where it's printed.
Gotcha.
All right. So there's that. My dark blue one also doesn't. Which one of yours was that way, John?
That sort of turquoise or light blue. That
Yeah,
was
see, so that's messed up. So my light blue turquoise one, whatever,
hey.
it does say printed in Canada.
This is my
Look at that.
gold tan standard one.
So they now see
No rhyme or
now
reason. Yeah.
now either one of us has got some Frankensteins, or they were just throwing in what the hell ever.
I would
Right.
say they were throwing in what the hell ever.
And,
Yeah.
and that could be. So now, actually, I like that because it's kind of like when we were looking at our Kiss collection boxes, Jason,
Mm-hmm.
from Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them have that Serie Azul and some didn't.
Yep.
That's good because you don't want to put and disc one should say this,
Right.
and this is the only booklet that should come with this label because that's not right.
That's right.
That's not right. So all these different could be options. That's just like these 3 different stickers.
I have 2 different stickers.
All right, you're gonna make me
Okay,
pull
so
them
first,
out.
for Canada, they
Yeah.
obviously they're cut out, they're trimmed. They're not like the page like in the U.S. The one I have, one is kind of instructions for peeling it for those who don't understand how a sticker works. And then one's just a plain brown one.
Yeah.
All right.
Those people never figured it out. So.
Yeah. They end up with a sticker on their face, I'm wanting to say that there's a difference on the cards now too. Now that we're
They're not
digging
perforated in Canada, right?
Yes, they are.
Oh, they are perforated?
Yep, mine
I'm
is.
just guessing. Hold on, I got it.
All right. Well, I'm going to pull these out too because I'm 99% sure that there's different
Yeah, mine's
markings
perforated.
on the cards.
Yeah, different markings.
Mine are too.
Shit, get out of there. All right, so
Hogwash.
yeah, here's this one.
That's the third one. Yeah, that's
All right. So you say yours has directions on it?
Well, it shows an example of somebody pulling a sticker.
Okay, I'll have to see if mine does that. I don't know.
Now,
And this set of cards here does not say printed in Canada. Doesn't say printed in USA either.
mine
though.
says printed in USA, so I wonder if I have a.
You're Canadian. Well, see that, and that's the thing of it. I'm thinking that should not be there.
Well, and my sticker is not die cut. So you think?
Oh,
I
yeah,
have,
yeah.
I have
Oh, yeah.
USA stuff?
Yeah, you're Frankenstein. Yeah.
I am Frankenstein.
But you know what? That's one of those Yeah, but that's one of them Frankensteins where I'm going. Well, shit, I got me another set from a US.
Yeah, the coloring's kind of different too, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not as
So it's
bright.
lighter orange and mine's darker red.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
Like red. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a bummer.
All right. Well, hang on. Let's see if we can bum you out some more.
Please don't.
All right. So here's another sticker with nothing on the back.
Yeah.
All right. And then this one also does not. The set of cards doesn't say printed in anywhere.
Yeah.
You watch me do all this, and then none of them will say anything. But I'm pretty sure one set of cards does say printed in Canada. You got to wonder what's up with that not saying where they're printed at.
Did we mention that the Canadian this information is printed on the?
We did not.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Now, see, I used to despise that. It doesn't bug me now, but it was like, all right, it's all kinds of messed up.
Can y'all hear my dogs going ape shit? Good.
No.
Good. They're barking at somebody outside.
Well, hell, I'm missing. Where did I put this over, Jack? Oh, great. I don't know which one I got into first.
Uh-oh.
Well, it means I'm going to have to sit there and go through them all again. Oh. Come on, Tom.
Get it together, man.
This is some riveting podcast right here, isn't it? All right,
I should have left all the crap in the Dynasty episode where you had to get up 19 times and go find all this stuff.
Yeah, I kept forgetting it. Had more than I thought I did.
Edit her out, please.
Edit her out.
All right, let's see. Hang on.
John, if you have any other originals, collectibles, related to collectibles around you, grab them because we'll show them too. I don't show that yet. You bum.
What?
Speaking of Canada.
What?
He just
Never
showed
mind.
the Canadian originals 8-track in the boxes.
Oh yeah.
I'll get, that's what. Oddly enough, while Tom's going through that, I might have told this story a couple times, but I just want to tell you the story. So if anybody else has heard it, sorry, fast forward. But I collected Kiss my entire life. Of course, it was not very serious when I was little, and as I became a teenager and got my own money, I really started getting into it. And I had a friend that I always talk about. His name's Danny, that lives close to me here in the next county, and he was a Kiss collector as well. He was a little older than me, and so anyway, I had this huge, what I considered huge Kiss collection at the time, for a 17-year-old and everything. And as I went to college and moved out and everything, I once the reunion happened and it really was getting out of hand, I decided I was going to sell everything.
Yeah.
I should just sell everything off. I'll keep one copy of all, the complete vinyl and anything that's personalized to me, and the rest of it I'll just sell. And I sold it all to Peter Arquette for nothing in 1999. And 15, 16, 17 giant U-Haul moving boxes of stuff for like $3,000 or something like that. So, I regretted it immediately. Even wrote Peter a letter and said, "Peter, I want my stuff back. How can I get it back?" And he was like, "I'm sorry, Jason. I've already sold some of it." So,
oh man.
But anyway, about 2008, I started getting the itch again, and I started wanting to buy some stuff. And then, of course, when Sonic Boom came out, I was like, "Man, I'm gonna start collecting Kiss again." So that's what I did. Bought the Sonic Boom vinyl, and I just really started. Now my collection is 4 times as large as it ever was, because now I have way more money. But what got me into it was 8-tracks. I was like, I'm gonna choose one portion of the whole Kiss thing that I didn't concentrate on very much the first time around, and I'm gonna start collecting the 8-tracks. And then I started realizing how expensive it was to really collect 8-tracks, and that thing you just showed is still eluding me to this day. So
I've never had a chance to buy one.
Man.
And Jason, I have a similar story. I've never sold my stuff. For whatever reason, I've managed to hang on to it and move it every time my wife and I moved. But it was about 2008 and Sonic Boom that I kind of got back into it again. The reunion era, love Kiss, but there are periods where, I don't know, I'd get burned out, quite honestly. And I just kind of pulled away from it for a long time. And about 2008, I started getting back into it.
It just, the reunion era just really became overwhelming. I went out to this Halloween shop and I bought those 4 giant rubber masks for $60 a piece. And I set them on my bed and I looked at them and I was like, hey, I'm not rich.
Yeah.
Man, I got a car payment and rent. And I was like, man, this was retarded. I don't know why I bought these things. And I still have the sheets here in a folder somewhere, but me and my girlfriend sat down at the time and I just called off everything to her. And she hand wrote it out. And I faxed them to Gary Kahn and Peter Arquette and Frank Caraglio, and I let them bid on it. And Peter was the highest bidder, and I sold it.
Yeah.
Drove up and met him in Gatlinburg, Tennessee on New Year's Day and '99, and gave it all to him. So anyway, shouldn't have.
He was the high bidder.
He was the high bidder. Yeah, Gary Kahn and them. I don't remember when Frank came in, but I think Gary Kahn was like, "I'll give you $1,500 for all that." It's like, no, and I mean, it was significant stuff. All the stuff that I have in the display case back here that you pay. Yeah. $800 for the cups now, and $300 for the the makeup kits. I had all of that stuff then.
Can I ask you this? Is there something you sold in that collection that you haven't been able to acquire?
There's a ton.
Is there a ton?
There's a ton, because
is there one that's just like, God, I gotta get it back?
I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at the list again. I'll have to do that. Okay. But off the top of my head, most of the stuff that I wanted the most to get back, I did get back, and the stuff that I haven't is just simply because it's so priced out of the
right. Yeah, that's the one thing, man. The prices in the last 10 years have just boom.
I mean, my buddy Danny was just able to buy the keychains, the solo album keychains, and he paid $1,500 for them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's nuts, man. He was telling me that he paid like $200 for them when he had them originally in like 91, 92.
Yeah,
that's God. I mean, good for the us that have stuff, but man, if you're trying to get into it, the coin stuff is ridiculous. But anyway, I digress. So I was just trying to waste time while you were looking, Tom. What'd you find out?
I found out that I keep looking through them over and over, and I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to send you the damn images anyway, so,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so where are we at now?
Well, I don't know. It sound like the man was pulling out 8 tracks.
No, we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
No,
Okay.
let's talk about.
Right.
Let's do the originals too.
All
Are we
right,
done
let's
with the
do
originals?
too.
Yeah, let's do the originals too.
Yeah, as far as I know, we're done. There ain't no singles for it.
No singles and no.
Yeah.
I got
no
a couple
other countries.
magazines, but let's do the vinyl first.
Okay,
There's not a promo Canadian copy
No,
that's right. That we know of.
that we know of.
So
It hasn't been made.
who has the white label originals too?
that'd be nobody.
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
There
Huh?
you go.
All right.
What
so
is the originals too?
Tell us.
What is it?
Tell your originals too. Oh, what's the originals too? Well, it's a repackage of the next 3 studio albums that was released around the time that they were coming over there for the '78 tour, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, and Love Gun with lots of goodies. Tom's got a nice one.
Yeah. Tom's got a nice one. We were talking about this earlier. Yeah, it bothers me every time I look at this now. I bought this in like 1994, somewhere in there. Got it from a couple that lived in Japan, and they were pretty much the go-to people for Japanese stuff that I knew of. And I was really grateful to get it. It probably took me 2 months of sending letters back and forth, to get everything worked out on it. My copy has, I did not have an Obi with it. It's got photocopies of the masks. And I think when I bought this, I gave like $325 or $350 for it.
Nice.
And this was like a holy grail at the time.
It was.
Yeah.
You just couldn't locate it. And then along comes eBay and the world shrinks.
Yeah.
And this thing is worth probably maybe $150 now, because it's not complete. Now I do have an original Obi that I bought from somebody, but whoever had it for them cut the top and the bottom off of it, so I can't put it on the record. And so it has, and this is actually pretty scary, it has a reproduction Obi that I can't hardly tell the difference. It almost looks, probably the biggest difference is it may be a little bit too bright.
That's how I feel about my Japanese solo album picture discs, which the last time you were on, John, you were showing those, and we were talking about my jealousy of you, and I've since gotten some, and I'm trying to piecemeal them together and not pay $500 a piece for them.
Right.
And I got a couple that are supposed to be original Obies, but when I put them side by side, they're different colors. The reds are slightly off, and I can't tell which is original and which is not, or if either is original. It's very frustrating. So So I'll tell my originals too story. So as Tom said, certainly a holy grail, and was something that I had no access to when I was younger. And so again, my buddy Danny Dabbs, who was a big collector, was starting to sell off his collection in the 92, 93, 94 timeline, and that was when I was a junior and senior in high school. And I graduated in 94, and for 94, got a bunch of graduation money. And all I did with my graduation money was I went to Danny's and I said, I want that, and I want that, and I bought all this stuff from him. So he sold me his copy of the originals too, which I have since had signed by Ace. And unfortunately, Gene and Paul is over here in black. Unfortunately, This was convention signatures. Worst time to get signatures from the band. But the interesting thing is Danny bought it from Winco Enterprises. I still have his bill of sale.
Oh, geez, that is a name.
Yeah, $300. I don't know if you can read it or not.
Yeah.
But I kept his original bill of sale, and it was incomplete at the time. It did not have an Obi, and it did not have a mask. So when I started recollecting again, like I was talking about earlier, I bought an incomplete copy that was missing booklets, but did have the original masks.
Yeah.
And the original Obi,
nice.
uncut. and I
Cool.
put them together, and then I sold off my incomplete copy to a good friend of
Right.
mine for like $100 or
Right.
something like that. So,
Yeah.
I'm probably into this $450.
Yeah.
to
Hey,
complete
man,
it.
at least it's worth $250.
I mean, for a serious Kiss fan, it's still a holy grail. I mean,
it really is.
when you pull up that Music Life magazine, I don't know if it's that one or the black one, was a couple of the first Japanese items and photographs, magazines that I ever saw back in the 80s. And in one of those is an ad for the originals too. And that was the first time I had even seen,
Cool.
Right.
that this thing even existed. And then, I mean, like Tom and I, we have a similar story when eBay kind of kicked in, and then about 98, 99, I bought mine off of eBay, but I was beginning to think the thing didn't even exist. I mean, I went to record conventions and stuff all through late 80s, 90s. I never saw the thing other than that Music Life magazine.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was really, to finally get one, I think it's still pretty special. But anyway, I got mine off eBay about the same time. Tom also got his. And, yeah, happy to have it. Still have it.
Me
Won't
too.
trade it.
No,
It's a cool item.
It's absolutely, I'd say top 5 of my favorite collectibles
Oh, yeah,
in my
yeah.
collection
Yeah.
by far.
I tell y'all this, but we're going to have to show the inserts and stuff because I have not gotten to my foreign only releases as far as doing the photographs. So
Well, heck,
I got
let's do
nothing.
that.
I got nothing to drop in.
All
Here,
right.
let me show my fake mask, okay? Because I was fortunate enough. Actually, these are actually very close. And I was fortunate enough to actually be able to look at a real set. These are white
white.
on the back.
Mine
Yeah.
are brown.
There
Right.
you go. And
There's
kind
your
of looks
difference.
like chip paper, maybe.
It's
Is
like
that a good description?
Pretty close, yes.
Like
They have a
cardboard
little
almost.
thickness. Hear what they
Yeah.
sound
Yeah,
like?
Yeah.
yeah.
A little
And this
thickness to them.
does not.
That sounds like paper or something.
Because it is paper.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are definitely original. So I'll go through them.
So we got a color booklet. Got a
Yeah,
color
where is
booklet.
that?
It's a nice one. It's a nice one. I mean, it's got a lot of good shots in it.
Yeah, cool. It's a great package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some good signatures. Fake. What else we got there? Anybody else want to show the other stuff?
That's the way you can show it, Tom. The black and white lyric booklet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got the booklet.
That's
I'm
all.
sure there's no typos on there.
No.
Sure
Perfect
it's all
lyrics.
perfect. Yeah, perfectly. And then the inner sleeves,
They're matte.
they're flat matte. Yep.
Yeah.
And of course they got Filmworks labels on these.
That is true. Except for my white label promo here.
Yeah. Which doesn't
That
exist.
Santa brought.
That's
Speaking of doesn't exist, I hate to even give any publicity for this stuff, but they're German of either one of these
Thank you.
is counterfeit. It's
Yeah.
counterfeit.
Yeah.
CDs are counterfeit. With
Counterfeit.
the
Yeah.
exception of one thing that I'm going to show in a minute. Once we get
The
into
exception of something you made.
Nope, it's not made. It's official. I'll show you in a second. I can't. This thing doesn't fit in anything.
Yeah, I know it. Somebody needs to make a protective cover with a resealable flap that works on these.
Whose phone is that?
That's my phone.
Not me.
Sorry
you
about
answer?
that. 2 more rings and it'll go to voicemail.
Oh, who
No.
cares, man? Hello, this is John
That
Humphrey.
should be it.
All right, so we're gonna move on to other formats.
Thought you were gonna show something.
Well, okay, so I love these. They are official. I'm sure John has them. I don't know if you have them, Tom, but
Oh, I'm not good enough. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know
Oh,
if you
yeah.
want this stuff or not. So
No,
the
I
dou-
don't have that.
So
I
the
don't
double
have that.
platinum.
Yeah.
One of the. I don't remember if these. I don't think these are the SHM boxes or not. This was a box that came out. I think maybe in 2006. I think
Yeah.
this is when this came out. It's a very cool collection. And anyway, it came with Punch Out.
Yep.
Official.
Yeah.
So you can punch these out and make them up into their own records and put the mini LP versions of the records that go in there. So they have the originals and the originals too.
I forgot all about that.
Right.
I had two.
Well, I bought 2 sets. I bought an extra set so I could actually make one because I didn't want to
Nice.
punch them out. So, and I still haven't done it yet. I've had them for years.
I was going to say, I don't see them
Should
punched
I do
out.
one on camera right now?
Do it. Do it.
All right.
You used to-
Go for it.
That's what I bought it for, you know? So,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is going to go. This is totally unscripted and unplanned.
That's for sure going to come out okay then.
It doesn't matter. I'm sure the recording's not working anyway, Tom.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that.
The coolest stuff we've ever done. Never seen the light of day. I can't get them out of the dang plastic. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves. This is something that our good friend Mark Cicchini would never do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, he would not. So, but I specifically bought a bonus set just to be able to do it. So I'm going to punch this out. Please don't tear.
Cool. Here's a little note. My originals, too, had this sticker. It's not a usual part of the packaging.
Oh,
but
wow!
What the hell?
That is cool as...
And I think it's from the first tour, the dates being March, April. I think that's from the 77 tour, which would be the not the correct originals to be in, but
Still, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
Peter looking all fierce there. Getting ready to
Right.
bite somebody.
I'm
Yeah.
afraid. I don't know if this is going to come out,
Gives the
guys.
dates and times for the shows.
I should have pre-done this.
Well, then you wouldn't be doing it on the air, would you?
That's true. Because it's not... The preparation on them is much thicker than a normal little preparation. So if you don't do it just right, you'll tear it.
Yeah.
Just have at it, man. Just
Yeah.
have at it.
Now I'm taking a
All
little...
right. So while you're doing that
While
here,
I'm doing that...
so this is originals related, but not. Got the originals lunchbox.
Nice!
Yeah.
I didn't think about grabbing mine.
I didn't either.
That's really cool. And so, Jason, do I now we're going on to other
Oh,
formats?
yeah, go ahead, man. Show your...
Do I mention it now? Okay, so, yes, I, too, am a big 8-track collector as well. This is the Canadian version,
That's crazy.
That's
which
awesome.
is kind of neat. That the punch-out cards are actually the outer case. You can punch them out.
Do that, John. Punch them out.
Yeah, man. I'll bust them out.
That's a
Punch 'em
$500 piece. I wouldn't do
Yeah.
that. So.
And then
One of
the
my
U.S. one.
are they both sealed?
They've been resealed
Oh, okay.
to sort of protect the inside, so
That's
not
a good
original
idea.
seal.
Well,
Yeah.
while we're showing them, I have this version.
Okay.
Not in good shape, but in the double slip case.
That's not really a version, right?
Is it not?
No.
I've seen them a
They
million
never sold
times.
that like that.
Are you
Oh
sure?
yeah. Well, nobody would have put them in there, would they? And put some shrink on them.
All right.
That would never happen. No, I'm positive they didn't
Okay,
come like
well,
that.
good.
Yeah, I'm positive.
All right. I have the
Of
original
course, the
too.
worst part about these, since this one's open, even though it's in there, of course, they had to fold the booklet, So
Yeah.
you never get that booklet unfolded, and you can't really see it, but the cards, well, I know you can't see it there. The cards and the sticker are in this.
Right, folded.
They're bent. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
folded. So,
Yeah.
All right.
That's a nice little frame, Tom. Did you do that yourself?
I got that at some cheap hobby place. It's just, yes, I did. That's the short
Yeah.
version. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, because it's not like I'm going to play them. And, I'm
Right,
always poor on that. I'm not going to play them, but, man, I don't want to get rid of them either.
No.
And, in fact, I was so ticked off. I was the better part of an hour looking around this basement today for that. I'm going, come on, man. How hard can this be to find? It's a wooden
It
frame.
is.
And I'm going, God, I wish I'd have kept it up on the wall. You used to keep it in my office back there on the wall. And I was sitting there. Finally, I came on here and logged on the computer and looked up. Oh, there it is. It's up on the wall. It's not the same wall.
I'm glad I punched this one out because it has a little bend in it. So.
Very cool.
All right. Let's put the records in it too.
And you load it up. And I think it has the Obi for it in that set.
It does. I think I have the Obi over there. I should have got that too. So anyway, CD collectors, if you don't have this is a cool set to get.
And see, I bought the first go around. Look out! What was that?
I
Whole thing
dropped it.
just shook.
I dropped it.
He's so
Yep.
excited.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, man, after I bought that first set of the little mini LP covers, and then here comes the next set, and then the next set, I'll have to go back sometime and buy one of those. But
they also have the Destroyer in here. They also, these Obies they did for these are so cool, silver. But they also have the Destroyer gatefold version.
Yeah. This is a great series. They also have miniature inserts, miniature platinum certificate, miniature gun, everything. It's really, I mean, again.
Can you pop it?
I don't know. I guess you'd have to be
tough, wouldn't it?
It'd be hard to even put it together.
It would.
Just pop it. But you know, they
Feel
know
like
how to
putting
do
a
it.
sip in a bottle.
Know how to do it right in Japan.
Yeah.
All right.
That's true. Hey,
Here's
let me
your
ask y'all a question.
Official Originals 2 CD.
Yeah.
Yes.
All
Let
put
me ask
together.
y'all a question. When was the last time you saw somebody in Japan's collection of records on Kiss My Wax? Or a record period. I'm not counting Alan, because Alan
Alan's
is
the token.
Yeah, how do you put that? I'm gonna try to say it better than he's a token now. Come on.
But he represents Japan really.
There. Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Living there. But yeah. So, and when's the last time you saw somebody in Japan's collection sitting behind them? Yeah. They culturally don't do that.
Interesting.
They have the stuff.
Yeah.
But their culture doesn't. I don't want to say doesn't permit them, but it's like bragging or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
So they have modesty.
Yeah.
Not like I said, with all this stuff.
Yeah, unlike me, I mean, I've been called a bragger already. So, yeah. But no,
Consumerism in America, when we buy a bunch of crap we don't really need.
That's right.
It's true.
I've got a problem, guys. I can't help it. Hey, it's better than other addictions.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What was it? I can't remember what somebody wrote on a page the other day, and it was, well, why do you want to do that exactly? And the person that said it, I told them, I said, because they have a different psychosis than you and I have. That's why.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
That's it.
Original songbook. What else? You got? Either you guys?
I've got that without the pictures. I didn't know that. That was a high dollar item at one time.
Yeah, now you can find them for nothing.
Yeah.
I think I have a couple of them. So.
Anything else? Got some magazines.
Do the magazines.
All right.
All
Not very many.
now.
Not very many. It's kind of surprising. All right. So we got a cream October '76 with Mick Jagger on the front, and it is a nice back page ad for the originals. That's nice to find. All right. And then we've got the November of '79 with, I don't know who she is, with records all over her bits and pieces there. But, same deal again. Got the ad on the back, and then there's actually some Kiss stuff in here. Got a little picture there talking about some kind of crap. I don't know what.
Some kind of crap.
Well, it's cream, so you know. Got that though.
Yeah.
Look, Jason not even interested in it.
I am. I'm just looking around to see if I had anything else.
He just all looking at it.
Tom is so boring.
Yeah. Off in the distance. All right, Hit Parader, February of '77. All right, and so this has actually got an article in it. Well, actually, it's got several Kiss things, but on page 20 is just very short blurb about it. Here's what I think is interesting about this. And last but certainly not least, Casablanca has put the first three Kiss albums together in one package filled with armbands. Are you froze there, Jason? He's froze. We're going to go ahead and talk over him anyway. With armbands, booklets, and pre-Ezrin come Cooper Shock and Roll. I came down negatively on the new Kiss album, but this repackage has reminded me how awesome those marvelous kissers could be in the right production hands. Come back, boys. Destroyer is forgiven. So there you go. There's a writer that didn't like Destroyer. Don't quite get that, but
Right.
You there now, man?
I am.
Yeah. First you sit there and you. So did you get your armbands and your copy of the originals? Weren't paying attention, were you, man? Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I was tuned out.
They said in this article that there were armbands included in there. I have no idea what they were talking about. They also didn't like Destroyer, so they were really happy with this.
That's cool. There was a TV ad.
Really? For the originals?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
That's one needs to import that here.
Insert now.
Yeah.
First there was Kiss, then Hotter Than Hell, then Dressed to Kill, the fire, the frenzy, the fantastic rise of the Kiss Army. The 3 albums that caused a rock revolution are now specially priced in a historic 3-record set with an exclusive Kiss history book and more. Kiss, the originals. Get yours today.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, see, we only had 2 TV channels here locally back then. Yeah. One of the channels shared two of the networks, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which, how does that work?
Yeah.
So we didn't get nothing around here as far as.
Now I didn't see it back in the day, obviously.
No,
I miss those things. But when the videos circulated, in the 80s and 90s, and I think it's tagged with like an ad for Roosevelt Stadium show or something.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think that's correct.
It's a cool ad.
Yep. So what else we got in originals?
I don't know. We might have covered it. Got anything?
I don't have anything, man. That's it.
Great
album.
What's back there on your wall, John?
He's got an originals back there. He's not.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hey,
hang
got
on.
so much. Can't even keep up with it.
Hang on.
Oh, nice.
Dang.
And actually, this was given to me. I didn't witness the autographs being done.
They're beautiful, though.
They are.
Really cool. I thought they were, that blue is really kind of neat.
Yeah, it really is. That's Ace signed my originals too in blue, and it really pops out.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I just love this artwork, man. It's one of my favorites. I just think, it's a lasting impression for sure. I just love it.
Yeah. It's awesome.
What I've never really understood while we're talking about it though, where's the cassette version at?
Good question.
I mean, I saw, and I could not find that book now if my life depended on it. I don't know if it was a Schwann's or what it was, but they had a catalog number listed for it. But of course, that's just put NLB 5 on it, and I guess they came up with it. But really, it's surprising that they didn't.
Right,
have
8 tracks, but didn't do cassettes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love having that 8-track, but what a pain in the ass. Seriously. I mean, that was before y'all's time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, y'all didn't have to listen to those, right?
No, I listened to 8-tracks.
I had the middle of the damn song, and there it goes.
Fade out.
Here it comes back. Yeah.
Shoot, yeah. I just recently threw my portable 8-track player away, but I listened to them all in the early 80s, and then the car that we owned, a Nova, it had an 8-track player in it. That's how we listened to stuff, Yeah, I distinctly remember getting the solo albums on 8-track before I got them on vinyl.
Yeah. Really?
And maybe a couple, they were just in bargain bins at like the local 5 and dime store here, for nothing, 50 cents or something like that, in the early 80s.
Man.
But back then, the originals, I never even had a beater copy to play.
No.
That was always kind of hard to obtain, but I definitely had like Dynasty and solo albums, like you mentioned,
For sure.
I don't know, man. I put a cassette player in my car in '77. I wasn't gonna have that. That just I couldn't stand that 8-track.
Nah, I don't even remember having a cassette player until probably the mid '80s.
Mid '80s CD time, man.
Yeah, no, that was early '90s for me. I didn't own a CD player until like 1990.
Well, then again, now I did have a really sweet '63 Rambler. You know, I mean, so it just
Nice.
I literally had box speakers sitting in the back seat. That's how I had it set up.
Oh yeah. No, my parents had like a '77 Nova, and it had an 8-track player in it, and that's how we Nazareth Hair of the Dog.
Yeah.
Like the solo albums, that's what we listened to.
Dude, this is how ghetto I was. One of my first cars, it had an 8-track player in it, so I had one of those 8-track to cassette converters.
Nice.
Yeah.
I still have one.
Did you ever have one of those
I still
pieces
have
of
one.
crap?
Yeah.
Oh man, and shove that in. You have a cassette. I mean, how ghetto is that?
Yeah.
But I did that for sure.
That's awesome.
I actually saw a cassette to CD converter the other day in a store.
Oh yeah.
Who the hell's got a cassette player in their car?
Man.
Right?
You know, who's using that?
Yeah.
That's probably why it's there.
Yeah. That's right. Was that it?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, hopefully this recording works. So
Hopefully it's there.
Yeah,
Everyone to see.
hopefully yours
It's
is
a
there,
keeper.
because mine's all cut up now because of losing my internet. So anyway,
Yeah.
all right. Well, until
Thanks,
next
guys.
time.
I appreciate
All right.
it.
Yeah, we thank
Thanks,
you, John. I forgot to thank John. I just figured he was going to be here next time. So
I see how it is.
thank you, John. I
Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
it, man. And until next time, we're out.
Later.
Okay.
Want more wax? Visit us at www.kissmywax.net, download the show on iTunes, or email us at contact@kissmywax.net.
Alright, Kiss My Wax fans, get your very own Kiss My Wax Slim Mat by going to kissmywax.net.
This goes on my turntable, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love it. Thank you very much.